Welcome to An Hour to Give, and we're speaking about the Ottawa Hospital today, and we're speaking about one of the best events that happens in this city, which is the Ride, which is Eastern Ontario's most successful single-day cycling fundraiser. In 9 years, the Ride, powered by Mattamy Homes, has raised over $13 million for research at our own the Ottawa Hospital, of course. September 8th, you have to mark your calendars because we'll be celebrating the 10th year. And I'm joined by Peter Croft, who this event means a lot to, and I want to hear all about it. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Peter, tell me about your involvement in the Ride.
Well, I've been involved in the Ride since 2014 when I did my first ride. I was originally part of the Brick Peddlers team, and for the last 3 years, I've captained our own little corporate team called the Neurons. And we have 6 people riding this year, and this year is my 6th year, and very excited to be partaking again.
Well, you don't do anything for 6 years if you don't love it.
No, not really, no.
No, and the event is such an incredible event. It really does pull the community together. Tell me a little bit about your team. Who are some of your team members?
Well, team members are drawn from our Toronto and Ottawa offices. We have riders in both offices, both locations, that are very keen to do this. One colleague of mine, David, he and I have done it for the last 3 years, and we've had people come and go from the team. But this year we've managed to get a small contingent of 6 of us, and we're hoping to increase that maybe by a couple more, but still early days yet.
I know I certainly have my own personal reasons for wanting to support cancer research. Is there a personal reason for yourself, Peter?
Absolutely. My dad was diagnosed with cancer in 2011, and after several rounds of beating it in 2014, he was finally diagnosed a 3rd time. And I decided I wanted to do something for cancer research, and I signed up for the Ride, or Ride the Rideau as it was then. And unfortunately, he passed away just a week or so before I did my first ride back in 2014. So it's very special for me to do it every year in his memory as well. I'm
sorry for your loss, and I do understand what it's like to really be inspired by a loved one to ensure the future generations.
Absolutely.
Are cared for, especially when it comes to cancer research.
Definitely. I mean, I have 2 young children, and I hope to see cancer eradicated in their lifetime. And if I can do my small part to help Ottawa Hospital raise funds to do that, then that's what I want to leave for my children, so they don't have to see what I saw.
Absolutely. And earlier in the show, we were talking about how many times the Ottawa Hospital is a great friend of An Hour to Give, and we've profiled them on a number of occasions. And, every time we have someone from the Ottawa Hospital on, we hear the words, the first in the world, over and over again. They're just doing incredible things, and they're open to different strategies and different techniques
Absolutely.
And different tools. Is that one of the things that inspires you, is that we're really a small town in the world when you think about, what's happening in other, big metropolises.
Yes.
And then you think about Ottawa.
Yes.
Is that something that inspires
Definitely.
you?
I mean, as someone who works in the design industry, we often draw from other sources of inspiration. And if we can draw ideas from other elements of science and whatever to come up with unique and strategies that may work, and we can test those here in Ottawa and be at the forefront, then absolutely, it's very inspiring to see some of the research done by Dr. Bell and some of the ideas his teams have come up with. And it's great that it's sort of Ottawa-centric, and we're right on the bleeding edge of this sort of research here in Ottawa.
And I think the Ride is just one of those examples of you really feel like you're doing something to give back. And when you look to your peers and ask them to donate to the Ride, there's just something about that can bring the whole community together.
Absolutely. I mean, a few people sort of shudder at the thought when you tell them you've got to cycle 120 kilometres for fun. And so it's they kind of feel sorry for you and happily donate because they know they couldn't do it themselves or don't have the sort of courage to sort of get on a bike and do it themselves. Even though we tell them there's shorter distances, or you can do a virtual ride, or you can do all kinds of other things like volunteer. Some people just say, glad you're doing it, take my money, and we're happy to see you and let us know how you got on.
Absolutely. And I think, too, I love the fact you're doing it with your colleagues.
Yes.
Because I think there's just something about everybody getting together on a healthy workplace.
Absolutely,
and
yes.
It really creates that team environment outside the office.
Yep, it's good for team building. I mean, we're a multidiscipline firm, so we have engineers, architects, designers, and if we can help bridge some of those sort of traditional sort of siloed divides by working on teams like this, then absolutely it's great. We arrange training runs throughout the year and usually ends with beer at the end, but that's a good recovery drink for us.
I'm always thinking about my friends friends at the Ottawa Hospital, of course, Shelley McLean, and all the riders that are participating that day. And I always wake up that morning thinking, oh, is it sunny out? And sometimes it hasn't been.
Yes, it hasn't.
So what are some of your memories in terms of your last 6 years participating?
Oh, last 6 years participating. It starts early, and invariably it is a little cooler when we get there first thing in the morning. And I think last year I actually arrived before the coffee had arrived, so I was extra cold for a little bit. But as soon as the coffee arrived and so more people start coming, you start feeling the warmth building. You start seeing volunteers you recognise or organisers you recognise. So you start feeling a little bit sort of get geared up for it, and before you know it, you're already off. And 7:30 has come, and you're off on the road, and all those thoughts of being cool or not ready, they're all soon left behind. You're already on the road.
And I think dotheride.ca has all the information if you want to become, obviously participate from a fundraising perspective, but if you also want to create, if you want to create a team and you want to get involved, what would you say to someone that maybe is sort of thinking, do I want to do this, or is it an event that I want to participate in? What would you say to them?
Do it. I mean, it's very simple. I mean, signing up is very easy. I mean, I was a little not scared, but a little sort of apprehensive the first time. So I didn't know anyone that was doing it. So I knew of people, but I didn't know them personally. So I signed up to Rob Merkley's Brick Peddlers, large team.
Nice.
And fortunately, there were many people on his team I actually knew through my own industry association. So I started to recognize other people. Many people probably find the same. Once you go to these large events, you see friends of friends or acquaintances, and you start building that rapport up. And if you go multiple times, you start being recognized as well as recognizing others. So it's a very community sort of oriented event, very friendly. The volunteers are fantastic, super well organized. I can't speak highly enough about it. It's just seamless from start to finish.
We're in the middle of spring right now, and of course the ride's happening on September the 8th. How will you prepare yourself for the ride from a physical perspective?
Usually I bike to work in the summer months, so I started that yesterday. I tend to be more of a fair weather rider right now. I'm working up to doing winter riding. That's next on the cards, hopefully at the end of the year. So biking at work's great. I have about a half an hour commute each way every day. So that certainly gets sort of a base level of fitness. And then at the weekends, I tend to go out on the parkways, do longer rides with the team, but also on my own. I tend not to be a gym rat. I don't really enjoy that. But just getting out on the bike, putting the kilometers in and having fun. And if people don't want to ride on roads, then get on a trainer or go to a spin class or anything that gets you active and can get that sort of fitness level. But
what I love about the ride, especially obviously benefiting the Ottawa Hospital, is fantastic, but that there's a number of different ways you can do the ride. So the 120 kilometers, 50 kilometers, and the virtual ride is brilliant.
That's right. I mean, so the virtual ride is a great innovation they came up with a couple of years ago for those people that aren't so keen being out on a bike on a road, whether it be an open road or a closed road. So the virtual ride was a fantastic idea where people can do as little or as much as they want to throughout the year as it suits their schedule. So it was a great way of doing it. And the 50K on a closed road, and for the more adventurous types like myself, like the 120K on open roads. And it's a great way of seeing the local countryside.
Once again, we're joined by Peter Croft, and he's involved in the ride. Captaining a team, what's the responsibilities of that?
Responsibilities of being a captain, making sure all the team gets to the end safely, I would say is probably the primary reason, but just generally encouragement, fundraising encouragement, also on the day of the event, making sure everyone's got what they needed and getting us all to the same place at the same time at the start, and just generally encouraging everyone to get up those hills, which always makes people a little bit sort of have some trepidation about whether they can get them up them or not, and just keeping that encouragement going.
Oh, it's definitely an important role to play, because I think when you pull people together, that camaraderie, especially when with a corporate team like yourself, is a great way to get involved.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely good for office morale and just morale generally with team members. Some people aren't doing riding every weekend. Some people tend to be a little bit more sort of less frequently. Some of the riders, we've had a couple of people from Toronto come up, and they tend to ride a little bit less frequently than some of us in the Ottawa office, but we'll drag them all there. We'll get them all there at the end. We'll all finish as a team. And
have you had an personal experience at the Ottawa Hospital? I know your father had some illnesses.
No, I haven't myself. My father was diagnosed in the UK, and that's where he was still living. I've been here for about 18 years, so this is my community now as opposed to where he was. I haven't had any direct experience, fortunately. My son was admitted a few times as a child. Touch wood, I haven't myself.
Well, I like to think of when you're fundraising and you haven't had a personal experience there, I like to think about giving to the Ottawa Hospital as an insurance policy.
Yes, that's a very good
thinking about it as, if and when my family needs the Ottawa Hospital, I know they're going to be there. They're going to have incredible talent, top talent.
Yes.
And the equipment they need and everything they need to take care of me and my family.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anything we can contribute is great to do. But yeah, you're right. An insurance policy is an excellent way of looking at it for those that haven't had to experience it yet, fortunately.
Well, I'm going to be cheering you on September the 8th.
Thank you.
The Ride, and you can visit dotheride.ca for all information. Peter Croft, it's been my pleasure today to speak with you. And we encourage all listeners to get involved. You can fundraise and you can still participate in the ride and get those bikes out of the garage because the weather is gorgeous, and raise money for our very own hospital, the Ottawa Hospital. Stay with us on An Hour to Give.